At the 2020 Sakhir Grand Prix in Bahrain, Racing Point driver Sergio Checo Perez started the race in 5th. Moments later, still in the opening lap of the race, Ferrari driver Charles Leclerc bumped into him from behind, essentially taking him out temporarily and putting him in last place. However, 20 laps in, the Mexican was up to 10th position. By lap 64, he was first, a position he would hold till the end of the race. It was an incredible race, making Perez one of only 6 people to pull a last to first place win in Formula One history, a feat that is almost impossible to achieve. But impossible doesn't stop you if you're Sergio Perez. Now, there are a lot of things that make Sergio Perez a great driver. His skill and experience, along with his quick thinking in particularly tricky situations, makes him one of the very best drivers out there. However, perhaps his most impressive quality as a driver is his unmatched efficiency with tire management. From early on in his career, Perez distinguished himself as a maestro with tire efficiency, opting for a one-stop strategy in his debut race in Formula One at the 2011 Australian Grand Prix. He quickly became a household name in tire management, and rightly so. You see, a great factor as to why Perez was able to win the race that day in Jeddah was because of he and his team's spot on tire management, in contrast to Mercedes' tire management errors. There are many factors to good tire management, and the most obvious of these factors is how often drivers change their tires. Formula One drivers may only make changes to their tires from a limited selection of Pirelli's hard, medium, or soft tires. While there is no limit to how many tire changes drivers can make, most teams usually opt for a 2 or 3 tire change strategy for the whole race. Considering that Formula One races have up to 78 laps in each race with a distance of at least 305 kilometers and speeds reaching up to 372.5 kilometers per hour, teams have to carefully plan and execute their changes, or else risk wearing out their tires, which will affect both the car's pace and control, and could have very dire consequences. While most drivers' go-to is a multiple tire change plan, Checo, as he's been nicknamed, has somehow managed to master the ability to minimize just how often he has to change his tires, oftentimes going the whole race with only one pit stop. Perez's ability to get the best out of the Pirelli tires is truly a testament to just how skilled he is as a driver. It takes great care and surgical precision to be able to maintain from wearing the tires out and managing to keep from struggling or making grave mistakes when using them for an extended period of time. Perez's tactic of changing his tires as rarely as possible clearly makes sense. While tire changes are quite vital, they could cost you several positions in the race. However, for most drivers, risking wearing out a tire is just not worth the gamble, and pit stops are a necessity. It also helps that tactics can be made based on tire changes to suit the condition of the racetrack, particularly when there are abrupt changes like moisture. Prolonging the use of the car's tires could do more harm than good, and it's very understandable, if not downright wise, that many drivers maintain that it's just better to make pit stops. However, the upside to avoiding pit stops is that if properly managed, a tire could last longer than it normally would and save a lot of time for a driver, especially when other racers have to make pit stops while you're still going. It's a gamble that pays off a ton if executed just right. In his first podium finish for Sauber at the Malaysian Grand Prix back in 2012, after changing to wet tires after the first lap, Perez managed to go the entire race, changing tires only once after that, in the 41st lap. He was able to finish second right behind Ferrari driver Fernando Alonso. How then does Perez manage to pull this off? This is where Perez's critically good handling comes into play. Great handling is pivotal for every driver. How you control the car as you drive goes a long way in determining how well you can manage your tires, particularly when you handle curves. Precise handling goes a long way in extending how long a driver can go on a single set of tires. Minimal exertion and avoidance of excessive friction, such as you encounter when you go slightly off track, helps preserve the integrity of the tires and reduces the rate of eventual wear and tear on the tires, allowing you to go further without the need to change. In this aspect, Perez has also shown, receiving praise from commentator and former Formula One driver Gabo Weber, who described him saying, Sergio Perez is a very anticipating driver with healthy classic lines, turning in slightly earlier than those. He's the one who rather breaks early to have the perfect exit. He purposely drives a square line in slow corners, but gains back the lost time in the following straight with a better exit. His technique is perfect for limiting tire wear, and it's what allows him to be one of the time-conserving specialists on the grid. Racing Point's technical director also had this to say about him. His feedback has always been amazing. His tire management is, I think he's in the top 2 or 3 on the grid. There's not many people who can do better. I think there are some who could probably match him. His slip control coming out of the corners is just remarkable. It's like he's got built-in traction control. Perez's tire management tactics don't always guarantee him success. In fact, there have been a few times where it has cost him podium finishes, one of which was at the 2020 Australian Grand Prix, where he lost out due to an error estimating how hard he could push his tires. He later expressed his frustration, saying, "I think looking back, we probably should have pitted under the safety car, but of course it's easy to know that now. At the end, I was struggling with my tires to hold the people behind on fresher rubber." Also in 2012, Checo started the season in 8th place, a result of pushing his tires so much that he struggled to keep up pace in the last few laps of the race, costing him several places. However, these errors don't faze Perez, as he mostly views them as opportunities to learn and better perfect his strategies. Perez's skill becomes very apparent as he has managed to consistently do well throughout his career, notwithstanding driving for teams with underwhelming cars like Force India and Sauber for most of his career, and having to contend with the domination of Formula One by Mercedes since the start of the turbo hybrid era. It was hence a delight to fans when Red Bull finally offered him a contract, which gave him a good chance to race more competitively. A lot of people see this as an opportunity to finally probe himself and enjoy the success that has long been overdue. Since he began racing for Red Bull, he has done spectacularly well and is seen as one of the few threats to Lewis Hamilton's hegemony in the Formula One, with Pirelli itself agreeing last year that his one-stop strategy might prove a threat to Hamilton. Perez completed the 2021 Formula One season in 4th place. His teammate Max Verstappen won the season, managing to edge Hamilton. Perhaps soon Perez's time too will come, as he seems to shine now that he's racing with a much better car that has seemingly given him more confidence. In the 2022 season, he's currently 7th place, earning his first pole position in the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix in March, becoming the driver with the record for the most races before gaining a pole position at 215. With his impressively good skills and a good car, who knows just how far he'll go?